What is faith? At times we proclaim our faith in God. At others we express faith in our favorite sports team. And still at others we go so far as to say that we have faith in ourselves. For me, faith is a constant struggle. For my whole life, I've been a Catholic, going to Mass every Sunday, praying with my family before every dinner. Before I came to Bellarmine, I attended St. Christopher's School, a socio-culturally homogeneous, upper middle class environment. St. Chris fostered a religious program that never made me ask questions about my faith. Everything was a given. The Bible and the Catholic Church were the sole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. And I, as a young boy, quietly accepted what my family and education taught me at face value. At Bellarmine, things slowly began to change. By delving into the historical and cultural background of the Bible, my freshman Hebrew and Christian scriptures classes began to pave the way to a more complete understanding of the writings upon which my religion was based. As a sophomore, I continued to learn about Christianity, now from a more modern perspective, from my creed community and call class. Through my first 2 years at Bellarmine, I continued to be a practicing Catholic, but I began to struggle with the God concept. In the summer before junior year, I decided to go on Kairos, a 4-day retreat which for many proves to be the most important and profound retreat experience of their years in high school. Despite having heard high praise for the experience, a part of me was afraid that the retreat would be an attempt to hammer the God concept into my mind, to force me to try to communicate with this being so distant and foreign to me. 4 summer days passed by in the Jesuit Retreat Center, and I was amazed. I did so much thinking, and I'm not talking about solving equations in math class. I'm talking about serious introspection and contemplative thought about life, relationships, and yes, faith. Then it hit me. I didn't believe in that distant, foreign God. I believed in the God that lives inside every single one of us. God isn't up there, peering down at us through the clouds, hiding away in some distant corner of the universe. He's here. He's the love you feel for your friends. He's the sacrifices your parents make for you day in and day out. God lives in the highs and lows of deep human emotion. God lives at the intersection between my fingertips and the piano keys, between my worn-out, dusty running shoes and the earth beneath them, in the space where my pencil meets the paper and creates art. Many say that God is love, and I agree. God makes his home in the firm and sincere hug that between two friends as close as brothers, and he dwells in the forgiveness of a parent to a child who is still learning to do right. If you want my take on religion, Jesus' great commandments are probably the best condensed version of the Gospels you'll find. But although Christ proclaims them as two distinct commandments, for me they are just two faces of the same coin. As Mr. Spitzmuller puts it, loving God is loving others. And just like there's no one definite way to love others, so too is there no one definite way to love God. I am by no means an absolutist, and I believe that people of all religions, or lack thereof, share common moral beliefs that make them human and dignified. So yes, it may sound convoluted, but for me, faith in a traditionalist religious context is tough. Faith is more about the selfless commitment to love others without bounds, to the best of our ability, just as Jesus Christ did, just as our parents have done for our entire lives. and just as our truest friends do as well. Some of you might think, wow, I mean, this sounds really tough. And you'd be correct in that assumption. But perhaps the greatest thing you can do is to give of yourself, not when the stakes are high for you. No, forget the riches and the honor and the pride, as Dr. Dalton would say. But when the person in greatest need could never repay you, when the recipient of your love is your enemy, and perhaps most difficult of all, when you couldn't care less about that individual that yearns for love in the pandemonium of your busy, frenetic life. Yeah, it's hard, but it can be done. And yeah, for me, faith is dedicating myself to unconditional love.